90-day diaries. What happened this week? Well, let's find out. So we're going to begin with Kenny and Armando. Now, we know that each time these two come back, there's always a conversation about relocation. Last time we saw them, they were relocating to Mexico City. But now, there's a new development. Let's dive into it.
United States. That's like my dream.
So you want to move to the United States?
Yeah.
When I first moved to Mexico, it wasn't in our plan to move to the United States. I really did go the other way to be with Armando and Hannah. 4 years ago, we started the visa process for Armando and Hannah. And after all this time being on the waiting list and all the paperwork to get their visa, they finally have their interview dates.
Honestly, I didn't see it coming because Armando has been so pro living in Mexico, just didn't see the idea of them even going to the United States. But obviously now all of a sudden the conversation has now begun. Applied 2 years ago, which is fantastic. The question is, can they finally get over the line? Can they get in that over the line so therefore they can all now be in the United States of America? Well, that is unknown, but let's continue.
If everything goes all right, the person is going to ask you to come back like the next day for the consular appointment.
But is there a way, like, they did deny it? There's a way to appeal it?
Completely denied. There's not a way to appeal that. He can apply again, but the result is going to be the same.
It's kind of crazy, isn't it, that once you apply and you get denied, even when you reapply again, you're more likely to get denied again. But it's kind of crazy that you can get denied, but you can't appeal being denied. But yet they want you to reappeal again to be denied again. How does this make sense? I just think it's crazy that we live in a world where we have to get permission to travel to another country. You know, we have to get permission. We have to sign papers. You have to pay money just to live in another country. It's just crazy because the whole of the earth itself in particular is meant to be free for us to adventure. Legit. You know, we shouldn't need to have a passport. We shouldn't need to have a visa. You know, the only thing that we should need is, I guess, is just to pay, is the money to pay to be able to use a plane. You know what I mean? Because of course, it's transport that we're getting at the expense of somebody else's professional abilities, you know what I mean? Or if you wanted to do the other way, get a boat and all that kind of type of situation. I can understand that bit, but the paper part is crazy. So it is crazy that people can be denied going to other countries. It's so crazy that we live in a world now where people are doing marches saying, make Britain great again, or you go to other places where it's like, make America great again. It's like, do people not understand that none of us, including these ridiculous world leaders, none of us actually own the earth. It was here for us to just enjoy. But hey, life is the way it is and politics will always be politics. But either way though, when it comes to Kenny and Armando over here, as you can find out, if they were to get denied, it wouldn't be a very good situation for them.
This is for Hannah's interview, since I can't go in there because I might be contagious and have tuberculosis. I'm actually not allowed to go in there. So, as her father can't go in with her, the next person in line is her sponsor.
Now, the good thing about, obviously, Armando is that originally you found out when he came out that he may not have been able to go because of this situation he's got going on, but it hasn't necessarily stopped him. So the good thing is that they can both still apply and to do the test or have the interview and hopefully be approved to obviously relocate back to the USA, or to the USA for the first time, shall I say, for Armando and his daughter. Obviously for Kenny, he's an American, so it's a no-brainer, isn't it now? But it'll be a damn shame, though. It'll be a damn shame if they are rejected, because why? Why? You know? But with that being said, though, we're now going to move on to the next part of what went down in 90-Day Diaries, and this one here being Jasmine. Oh, of course, Jasmine.
I spent a lot of time praying for you and Matt, but I cannot give you my blessing without commitment and marriage, of living in sin.
Okay.
So this letter here is from Matt's mother.
I also need to express your clothing selection feels immodest. All of this could have been avoided if Matt had chosen someone who shares our background.
That, of course, being a Romanian woman. Now, of course, listen, when it comes to the situation with Jasmine and Matt, you know what I mean, and the relationship with Matt's parents, for me personally, I still do believe all of this is fabricated just to keep them on the show. I don't really believe it's that deep or it's that real. But at the same time, though, we do know that when it comes to the idea of marriage between Matt and Jasmine, that is something that has definitely taken a very interesting journey, because I do generally believe, though, that there are issues with Jasmine wanting to marry Matt. I don't believe that is fabricated. But let's continue.
Understands our traditions. With love, Olympia, thank you for inviting us to Thanksgiving. And how this letter made me feel.
I know you don't like me agreeing with my mom, but I kind of do the same thing. I don't go wrong.
Exactly. So why would you want to be married to me then?
Because we have a child together now. Okay.
Exactly. I don't want to marry a man that says that wants to marry me because his mommy and because we
Now, I have known a guy, to be fair, where, you know, he wanted to marry his woman, but then she got pregnant. And then when she got pregnant, he then proposed. And then she then rejected him the first time around. She said, no, because I feel like you only want to marry me because I'm having our child. Obviously, she didn't know at the time that he genuinely wanted to marry her, do you know what I mean? So I do know that there are some women out here that will reject the idea of a proposal of marriage if they feel like the man is only proposing because of the fact that there's now a baby on the way. And I like that. I respect it when it happens because it shows that, one, this woman didn't have a kid to, one, trap you, to keep you around, for starters, okay? She didn't have the kid, but she thought the kid was going to make them two stay together, you know? And I like the fact that women are aware of this because marriage is a big thing, you know? And when I say it's a big thing, I don't necessarily mean like in terms of what the traditional meanings are or was, because nowadays marriage is just seen as just whatever for the most part. But it's a big thing in terms of the fact that it's a massive commitment financially. Okay, that's the crazy part about it, right? Financially, it's expensive to get married, expensive to get divorced, just expensive, right? So to go through that process, you want to make sure you're doing it with the right person, right? Or somebody at least you believe is the right person, because at least you want to believe that they're proposing to you for the right reasons. So I can understand when a woman says no to a man when it comes to marriage, when a child is now here, because she needs to know that this man really and truly wants to be with her. And to be honest with you, this may be subjective depending on the person that you are, but sometimes it's better to get married after having a kid rather than before having a child, because a lot of relationships go downhill after a child is born for different reasons. One of the more common reasons is because when a woman gives birth, some women struggle to bring in a balance of how they can be a mother but also still be a partner to their partner. And therefore some men can feel massively neglected by their partners. So therefore it starts to create a division between the pair, and therefore in the end jealousy happens and all of a sudden you break up. So sometimes maybe if you have a child first to then see how you two can really, you know, coexist, being parents together, maybe that gives you a better idea of also the fact that you now getting married is actually going to be something that you can that you're going to do well, you know, and do more or less more likely to be successful. Now again, it could be subjective saying that, okay? It could be very subjective saying that. Because you could also argue, say, well, you can get married first and have kids later. But again, though, the only difference is that some people argue and say that the commitment of having a child is not the same as the commitment of marrying someone, as well as the same commitment as getting a mortgage with somebody. The commitments are very different in different ways, okay? And some people say like it's easier to break up when you have a child together compared to when you have a marriage, compared to when you have a mortgage together, or you have a marriage certificate together, because of course those things cost money to be able to separate that bond or that relationship. But obviously with a child, if things don't work out, it's just a matter of just co-parenting in a healthy way. You don't have to worry about the law telling you about, you know, you have to wait this amount of time for you to be able to divorce, and, you know, this amount of time, or you need to spend this amount of money to be able to divorce, you know what I mean? Or as well as also a mortgage. You got to wait a certain amount of time for lawyers, solicitors to take forever to do the papers, so therefore you can now break that apart. It's a hot mess. It's definitely it feels like it's a bigger mess than it is when it comes to two people having a kid, and then things just don't work out. You just say, you know what, I'll move out, and then boom, bam. All you got to do is just figure out how you're going to both be there for the child financially as well as also physically as well. You know what I mean? But again, it's subjective depending on obviously how you want to view things. More the point is that I do respect it when women do say no to marriage after having a kid, because they need clarity first to figure out if this man really wants to be with me for me, or if he wants to be with me for the kid, because there's so many people that get married for those reasons among so many other reasons that are not good reasons. More of the stories though, when it comes to Jasmine and Matt, do we believe that she's generally saying no for the right reasons? Let me know your thoughts.
We have a child. Not even once you have said that you want to marry me because I'm the love of your life, because you cannot picture your life without me. Just treat me with love and I'm going to be an angel. But do this kind of and I'm going to be bitch.
I'm not gonna be pressured into marrying anyone.
Then, that letter, Matt, and marriage, I'm not going to marry him, period.
But hey, when it comes to Jasmine, you know, she's admitting that marriage is never going to happen with her and Matt. Marriage is something that she never desires to do again. Interesting. First, she said that she didn't want to marry Matt because she didn't want to be seen as a woman who's just uses men from America just to stay there after everything that went down to her and Gino. Now, of course, she's saying that she doesn't want to marry him because she doesn't want to do it out of the pressure from his mother. And don't get me wrong, if the pressure is real from his mother, I can understand why that would make her rebellious. And if the pressure is real from him, I can also understand that too. But at the same time, though, they are together. They seem to be making it work. So clearly, their relationship is stable enough to get married at some point. But hey, like I said before, when it comes to Jasmine and anything that she does on the show, it's very hard to believe if it's 1000% authentic. Because the way it goes down, it just doesn't feel like it is, does it now? Nonetheless, we're going to move on to the next one and the last one, and this one being Josh himself in particular.
You know, this is one of the first times in a long time that both of us have been single at the same time. So I've had like thoughts kind of cross my mind as far as like, well, maybe it's time. Maybe the fact that.
So Josh wants to rekindle things with his baby mother.
She agreed to go on this date. It makes me feel like maybe I can, maybe I can still repair this.
It's interesting. He said, maybe I can still repair. So that means the reason why they broke up in the first place was due to Josh's own behavior. Interesting. Not surprising, but interesting.
No, man. You guys have very different lifestyles. I mean, you're always traveling. What, are you gonna stop traveling? Why? You think that's a problem? It's gonna work. But why? Because you've already tried. Yeah, well, we tried like young, like we were young love. You go on a date, see how it goes.
Now, the reason why it's interesting is because his son is not, well, their son, shall I say, for that matter, isn't even on board. He says, honestly, I just don't see you two getting back together and it working. I'd rather you didn't. I don't want to see my mum be heartbroken again, pretty much. The son is doing the right thing. He is literally stepping up and saying, well, even though you're my dad, I am the man of the house now. And I don't want you to come in and hurt mum again. Because then if you hurt mum again, then guess what? I'm then going to have to dislike you again. And I don't want to have to do that. So I respect what the son's saying. And it's important that the son's voice is listened to, because the son's voice needs to be listened to, not in terms of saying, okay, well, maybe I shouldn't try it again with, maybe me and mum shouldn't be together. Not necessarily in that perspective, but just the fact that to let you know that if you really want to try, make things work again, make sure it's something that you genuinely want, not something that you're just doing for the sake of it. You see what I'm saying? So at least think about it. So I respect and like the son's response.
I think it's any secret that it's been really hard for me to, really fully commit into a relationship. But that was the past. And I feel like I've changed. Something with Candace, like I have.
You know when somebody says, I feel like I've changed, what does that mean? It's either you know you've changed or you know you haven't. I feel like I've changed. Listen, if somebody says to me, I feel like I can do better, I don't want to hear I feel like I can do better. I want to hear that I know and I will do better. I am willing to try my hardest to do better. I'd rather hear the word trying to do better rather than I feel like I could. Because that means, what if one day you wake up and you just don't feel like it? You know what I mean? When you try something, you do it regardless of how you feel. Bear that in mind, folks. Power of words.
To be 100% serious, because I don't want any disruption like with Jet and I's relationship. But we'll have to see how things go on our date first.
And if you and I can just be friends and we keep it at that level and go on fun dates every now and then, okay, and then maybe in a couple years we try again.
Yes, there's no other word to say, but it sucks. She still sees me as, this self-centered guy. But the fact that...
See, this is the thing that he's not seeing here. Now, she was very smart to say, hey, listen, I'm more than happy to do dates here and there, but I'm not trying to date. I'm not trying to do dates with you for the sake of trying to get back together, because I don't even know if I even want to get back together with you right now. But I will happily explore having dates every now and then. That's not a rejection. Believe it or not, that is not a rejection. What she's simply saying is like, I am more than happy to go on dates with you every now and then because I just want to see if you're going to keep up this energy that you're telling me right now. So if we're still going on dates every now and then, even if it's like one date per month for the next 6 months or whatever, right? If she's recognizing that, hold on a minute, this guy actually wasn't joking. Like, he actually was being dead serious. Like, he wasn't just saying it for the sake of it. He's actually invested in this, because how comes we're now on a third date? How comes now we're on a, you know what I mean? Like you could have maybe 3 dates in the space of 4 months. I don't know, whatever, right? She's trying to see how serious and genuine you are about your intentions. But if the dates don't happen, then she's going to know that she's made the right choice. So what she's actually said there wasn't even a rejection. Far from it. It was a test. But it wasn't just a test for him. It was a test for herself too, because she also wants to know that if she goes on a couple of dates with you, is she going to feel something for you within those dates as well? So the test isn't just for him, okay? Both of them, but mostly for him. Because he's the one that screwed it up the first time. And she knows what it's like, just like his son knows what he's like. So there is that part. So you know what though? Smart by her. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like the better option of her would have been just to say, no, me and you are done. I'm never going back to you again, personally. I feel like that probably would have been the even better answer. But because she clearly has feelings for him and she wouldn't mind it, the way she's gone about it is perfect. Rather than being like, oh yeah, let's go on a date. Yeah, let's hook up, blah, blah, blah. Nah, she's like, well, we'll do this so slowly. We did it when we was young. We rushed it, So why not chill now? I know who you are already, so I don't need to rush you. You do know what I mean? So and based on the context of the relationship, it makes a lot of sense. In some contexts, it would have been a bit sticky. But nonetheless, though, please do let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Don't forget to hype the video, like the video, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys for some more 90-day content. Have a good day.